Girl my boyfriend was cheating on me with came to my home and shot me. At the time, I was seeing this guy. Almost a year into our relationship, he began to be unfaithful. The girl my boyfriend was cheating on me with, she became a living nightmare. She would always come to my house when she knew me and him was together. He was just playing the middleman. He was telling her one thing, telling me one thing, and I just got fed up with it after a while. Me and him had kind of drifted apart. It was Halloween 2020. I had a party to go to at the end of the day. I had a nice, pretty costume. I picked up my best friend and we headed out to the party. I came home and I decided just to chill out on the couch and watch some television. And then I got a phone call from the girl. I answered and it was her in the bed with him. She threw his phone that night and seen that me and him were together the day prior. She was very upset. I said, you can have him. He's clearly there with you. Good luck. So I hung up the phone and she called me back. She said, I'll come shoot up your windows. I just wrote it off as fight talk. I started to get ready to go to bed. My boyfriend at the time, he had this old van, has this like loud motor. I hear the motor of his van, so I look out the windows and it was his van and I see someone in all black come out the car. I just immediately ran outside and as I'm walking up, I'm realizing it's the girl. I asked her, what was she doing here? She pulls out the gun and I just froze. I just knew she was going to kill me at that moment. She immediately just started shooting. The first 3 shots, she hit my stomach. It just felt like the wind got knocked out of my body. Felt like I was in a room of fire. I was face down on the ground and she still continued with the to shoot me in my back and in my legs. And I'm just screaming for help. My neighbor on the top floor, I hear her scream out her window, stop, leave her alone. I called the police. She's just saying, die, die. And that moment, I just said, okay, Nicole, you gotta stop screaming. You have to play dead because she's not gonna leave until she thinks you're dead. Eventually, she ran off to the car. My neighbor, she was down like in 2 seconds. She started to hold my hand and I'm drenched in blood. I remember hearing the sirens coming. The ambulance, they rushed me off to the hospital. When I'm in the hospital, I can feel just 1,000 people surrounding me and they're counting. I'm not understanding what they're counting. I was put into a medically induced coma. I woke up 4 days later and I realized that they were counting my gunshot wounds. When I woke up, they told me that I had been shot 17 times. I got shot multiple times in my legs. I couldn't even feel them when I woke up. Willing to shoot me in my back. Time seeing my mom after getting shot was on a tablet. I couldn't see her. It was COVID. I just remember her telling me, you fight, you be strong, you're gonna live through this. They told me that I probably wouldn't be walking, but I was walking in rehab within 3 weeks.
Very good.
I do walk with a walker. I'm kind of slower than I used to be. I went through a deep depression after being shot, having suicidal thoughts every day. I lived through 17 bullets and I still didn't want to be here because the pain was just so unbearable. I didn't recognize myself anymore. Relying on people for transportation and to do things for me was just miserable. I do still have my days, but I'm dealing with it better. I was able to give the police her name while I was in the hospital, so they had her in custody within the next hour. I'm seeing my mom. She's been in county jail awaiting her trial. She actually stole my boyfriend's van while he was asleep that night. He was very apologetic and he felt bad. But once he was assured that I was alive and well, he kind of went back to his old ways. I don't hate her. I went through a long process of why me? Why did this have to happen to me? It's my story and I survived it. I just feel like guns are so unnecessary. It's so easy to get a gun off the street. I just want to help other people just to put the guns down and stop the violence. It's not worth it. This is my survivor story. What's yours?
Wow. So 17 gunshots later, scars all over her body, walking on a walker, a lot slower than she used to be. Her life is severely changed, all because of somebody else's dishonesty, all because someone else couldn't practice loyalty and discipline. And as men, we should understand the damage that we can cause by cheating, by lying, because we understand the damage it causes when our women dress inappropriately, right? Or when they cheat on us, because half the time when that happens, we want to go kill whoever that is, or that person wants to harm you. And we've seen too many lives get lost over cheating, over lying, on both sides. Vandalization, if it's not domestic violence, if we ain't beating the crap out of each other, we keying up each other's cars, burning each other's cars, blowing them up, setting each other's houses on fire, killing people in their sleep. I mean, the list goes on, all because somebody's cheating. Now, don't get me wrong. Domestic violence, vandalism, all that can happen if you don't cheat. But the probability is certainly heightened when you're lying and cheating. You understand? And here's another one. Rumors. You understand? Like, someone can tell a rumor that can change your life equally to that of a gunshot. You understand? And in anger, people do things and say things, and people believe them, and they can change how people see you forever. Do you understand? This is why it's important that we practice discipline, y'all. Men, for the most part, did not grow up practicing discipline. We were actually encouraged to sleep around and get our numbers up. This is what added to our manhood or our value as men. You know what I'm saying? And so we'll run the streets like wild, and then we'll call it settling down or giving up the game. And all these words sound like I'm retiring. You know what I'm saying? And it's so wild because we don't even understand the value, you know, of sex. That's a divine, it's a sacred act. And because we don't value it, we just use it like it's something like that. And because we're doing that, that's why it's turning into chaos. Do you understand? We're not taking time to get to know each other. And you don't know how people are going to be when they're angry and hurt, because regardless of whether you set rules or not, people fall in love. You can meet somebody up front and tell them, hey, I got somebody. And they might say, that's cool. A couple months later, now they mad at you for going home with your own person. And a lot of times we've seen it, we've heard about it on the news, right? We've seen it on the news, like that turns into something horrible. So you can think that you explain it well, and you can try to be logical and be like, I told her it wasn't serious. I told him it wasn't serious. It doesn't matter. This is why it's better just to be loyal. Okay. If you're not happy in the relationship you're in, try your best to give to your relationship, pour into your relationship to create happiness. If you can't do that, family, have a conversation with your person. Maybe y'all need to separate, but don't step out and cheat, because that heightens the probability of violence, right? Of people lying on you, of people acting out in rage towards you. We see it happening. You know what I mean? We all should learn how to deal with our anger better. Don't get me wrong, but you just never know the person you're dealing with. In life, all you can really trust is yourself. Everybody else is somebody you cannot control. So you can only understand this. If you change someone else's experience, you will change yours. So if you don't cheat and lie, you don't have to worry about the vindictiveness of cheating and lying. So always remember that if you don't like what you're dealing with in front of you, the person that you're dealing with, often think about what you put into them, the coin that you put into their back to get that action out of them. This is a good way of thinking, family. You understand? So just keep that in mind. The experience that you're creating for another person is likely why they're creating that experience for you. Do you understand? Be evolution, be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you would ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it's in the middle of chaos that you find yourself. And y'all know what I'm trying to say. All right. Peace, y'all.